Yes, we are live now. So, hey folks, this is me, Vishwas Nair. I'm the host of this Bill Piper show. A lot of times we have realized one thing, you know what? There is a lot of things changing in the market, and guess what? There is a lot which has to be demystified. A product manager comes in a loop of entire engineering process, and he literally sits down and what is the problem that's going on. Like he literally sits down and says, you know what, we're supposed to figure out this, we're supposed to figure out that. That's a people skills at the end of the day. And I feel that somewhere down the line, DevOps is just more relatable to the people skills than being more of a technology thing. People say, you know what, I did DevOps using Linux bash scripts. Why are you complicating it with more tools? That's how it is. Just solve your technical debts and things like that. So today I'm with Gitanjali ma'am. Gitanjali ma'am happens to be the one of the most active member in the women community with respect to the prodmans and things like that, because she has been giving talks in a lot of places. She's also delivered. She's also, I think we met in a conference and also in some webinars and things like that. So this is how active she is. So it's an honor having her on the show. Presently, she's working as an engineering program manager, product manager, right?
You can take the terms interchangeably because I'm more into program management. Designation wise, Cisco is very flexible.
Yeah, it's not a problem. So yeah, I would allow you to give your introduction so that after the introduction we can just go on with the session. So not a problem.
Sure. Thanks, Vishwas. And yeah, hi once again to you and all our listeners as well who are right now on the channel. Vishwas has given me a very nice, in fact, inflated introduction. I must be saying he's very kind that way. Just to give a quick intro about myself, I'm not much of a big deal like how Vishwas is describing. I have been in this industry since 15 years now, 15 plus, and I have dabbled quite a lot in the QA space. But yes, I have had the opportunity of working as into the development space as a junior developer way back when I initially started off. Then I've seen even the production support environment, QA space quite a large extent. I mean, dabbled with multiple domains. You name the domain, almost it must be in my portfolio. It's that lengthy a list because I mean that's how service based industry in within IT functions, right? It's a total all new multiverse altogether, a different world, right, compared to a product based company. So I have seen that. I have had the good fortune of working very closely with the clients on location, in their own premises as well. I've worked in multiple cities within India and outside India as well, in US and China. So yeah, the cultural experience also was a big plus. And then getting an opportunity to closely observe how a product management company works is also product based company basically works and handles its product management was a very good learning curve for me. And that finally landed me into Cisco, where I am dealing with certain things related to product management, program management, and the likes. So yeah, the journey has been lovely, learning all the while, and more learning to come. So that's how I would like to describe myself.
Sure. I think let's start with the session. So the slides will be shared from my side, so don't worry about it. The slides will be shared from my side, but she will obviously be giving her insights in terms of prod, Prodman's view about enterprise software, because everybody wants an enterprise hustle to be happening. Because never deny the fact that you are putting human in the loop as well as your $1 million business logic at the stake. So at the end of the day, we need to take care of it just like a baby. So who better than a prodman to give that kind of an intro? So Gitanjali ma'am, over to you. I'll be sharing the slides now.
Thank you, Vishwas. Okay. So let's quickly delve into the topic enterprise software engineering for architecting a new age reliability. Sounds a lengthy one, right? Let's break this into chunks. So I'll break it into three chunks: enterprise software engineering, broadman, and then reliability would be more related to the security aspect, right? So let's get started. Next slide, please, Vishwas. Yeah, so the agenda, like I mentioned, I have broken it into chunks, and you will see, it's broken into further independent sub chunks as well. So, just to quickly do a readout of the agenda, what you are seeing on screen: enterprise software engineering. What is it for, and for whom is it targeted to? Clearing chaos around software engineering. I mean, hey, come on, anything and everything in life has an element of chaos to it. So why not in software engineering as well? Definitely, it has to be, right? So who does it? As in clearing it, right? What defines a good product manager? That's very vital for our understanding. To build our understanding more in depth, this person's role is something which we need to dig deep into. Digging into the details of managerial skills. So we just talked about product manager. Yeah, you understand that product is being managed by a person. So what kind of managerial skills this person needs to have? Understanding the security landscape. I mean, before you directly jump into security aspect, understand how the view looks like. I mean, it's like doing a resi of a location, right? That's what you're going to do now. Then fitting the security aspect into your scheme of things. I mean, where exactly do you start using security? Where you drop the first hint of, okay, let's have security in place for our product? Those kind of aspects. Security resilience. How strong are you? What is the strength that you need? These are the details. Then eliminating the security poverty line. This will be interesting, right? You have always heard on the economic world something called as below poverty line, but we have an aspect called as security poverty line. I mean, that's an interesting thing. Not many may be knowing about it. Let's dig a little bit further on that. And conclusions and any questions coming my way. Okay. So let's go to the next slide, please, Vishwas. Okay, so to start with the first bit of the understanding planned on the agenda. So in very layman terms, it's all about creating software for catering to the needs of large institutions and not just individuals. It is not individuals at all. I mean, I'm sorry, it's not individuals at all. We are focused on enterprises, large institutions, to name. So the names, to just name the institutions, you can just talk about businesses, governments, charitable trusts, schools, any interest based user groups, etc., and so on and so forth. So just to give an example, if we take SAP or Salesforce, for example, these are companies which cater to enterprise software, right? So enterprise needs. You will never see an individual person going and saying, okay, I purchased a SAP product. I mean, it is more focused on an organization buying it for their needs. Okay. So that is how you would, understand what exactly is software, enterprise software engineering all about. Okay, it's not an individual product like a television is a single unit, an individual goes there and buys it, but this is not that way, right? So that is what we mean to say. Yeah, next slide, please, Vishwas. Vishwas? Yeah, thank you. So clearing chaos around software engineering. So yeah, in the previous slide, if you noticed, I had put the image of Tom the cat. I mean, yeah, I'm a fan of cartoons, animation in general. The reason for putting in Tom's picture over there was it is just to denote that. I mean, the definition is pretty simple and straightforward. Even Tom was having a smile on his face that he understood it. I mean, basically to drive home the point that anyone and everyone can understand what exactly is software engineering by looking at that very generic definition. Right now, we have the Superman's picture. I'll come to that and why I have put in Superman here to justify that. Let's talk about it. So what exactly is all about this software engineering? Engineering basically is what you're doing. I mean, you are trying to build a product, create a quality product, push it into the marketplace in the present day's world, and you'll try to manage to keep it afloat, as in you want customers. I mean, you have built a product, you do not want to go bankrupt after you have built a product that's huge enough to cater to enterprises, organizations in particular. I mean, you just have to ensure that you're staying afloat. That is what you mean here by managing chaos. I mean, as in your product should be so very robust that it should be in a condition to weather out any kind of storm coming its way, right? So in short, you need to have a person who is a jack of all trades. I mean, that's a very nice phrase, isn't it? Jack of all trades, as in he's not a king, he's not a master over here, but he's the jack. I mean, jack is quite a vital card in the deck of cards, right? So he needs to listen to business, understand technology, and foresee design as well. As in, if you browse onto internet, I mean, today's internet is a very normal thing, like eat and drink, right? So if you go on internet, you'll always see a Venn diagram description of three intersecting circles, and that's where product man's role comes in. So the Marvel universe and DC Comics and all had their own heroes, right? I mean, Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, whatnot man. So why not Prodman? For the fun element of it, we started calling it Prodman. So is like the Superman, Spider-Man, Batman, whatever you want to call of our software engineering aspect, right? So he's the jack of all trades. Over to the next slide, Vishwas, please. Okay. So, what defines a good product manager? So, you are able to see here at the center of product manager, you are having all these intersecting arrows coming into, bringing to life the person called as product manager. So, innovative, knowledgeable and experienced, problem solver, managerial skills. I mean, basically, what we are trying to drive home here is that he should be pretty knowledgeable on what he's dealing with and experienced as well. You'll usually see product manager is not an entry level person who has just come out of college. I mean, not your typical freshly hatched chicken in the industry. I mean, that's how we usually call freshers. That's a fun element, no offense. And yeah, and he needs to be constantly innovative. He needs to have a value add, mindset for what is the product he is working on. That way, he will ensure that the product demand is always in place. He will be having a good ear to what are the new trends, and changes coming in the industry, the competitors, what are they planning, what are they bringing out, how you can deal the competition, how can you deal it in a very creative way. Of course, you should be accommodative at the same time. I mean, and creative in the sense of innovation and creativity should be in a very positive light, right? So at the same time, problem solving. So he should be having the big picture in front of his eyes as to what all problems can we encounter, how to deal with them. I mean, what are the aspects you need to be constantly in touch with, constantly aware of. These are the skills you need to have. Then you have these managerial skills. Managerial skills, putting in here in one circle doesn't do justice. So we will delve more into managerial skills going further. So, but basically, what I try to do here is try to bring in the major ones and then dig deeper into those aspects. Managerial skills, of course, definitely forms the biggest chunk of them all. So let's talk further on managerial skills. Vishwas, next one, please. Can we have one more click, Vishwas? I think it's still not loaded.
I think, wait, it's just uh, what has happened was, I think the slide is not just moving ahead. What I'll do is I'll just share my screen again so that
Sure.
probably that will not be a more mess. Like, I think there was a lot of graphics that was added. I think it has not taken the graphics.
Okay, no problem. But while you're doing your share, I'll talk further on that. So,
Yeah.
if you are seeing the screen already, you had only research and analysis showing up, right? So, research and analysis is at the core. I mean, the deepest possible one. It's like the heart of your whole managerial skills. You need to have that in depth. I mean, you need to always do your market research. What is in the market? I mean, analyze the products, what your competitors have brought in, analyze your own product as well. I mean, dig deeper into how better you can do. Then that's the value add aspect that you will be bringing into core, uh, in the forefront of your product development. And then you will have the, yes, there it comes, thank you, Vishwas. And then you will have the the good eye for catching what can come up as a quality product, what can be pushed into the market as a very uh, customer attraction drawing product. So that's what you are trying to achieve by doing your research and analysis. Then comes the holistic marketing skills. I mean, see, let's take a simple analogy here. What exactly are you doing when you go to an interview? When you attend an interview, you are basically trying to sell yourself, right? So see how best you can market your product. I mean, we are talking about a person. A prod man is somebody who is going to talk to business, who is going to talk to technology, who's going to talk to design as well, right? So you need to convince these folks on, saying that, okay, this is where I stand. I mean, this is the viewpoint I'm having. And yeah, your viewpoints are definitely appreciable. We can dig deeper, we can brainstorm on ideas and etc. and so on and so forth. And this is where your negotiation skills come into picture. So that aspect is also again a very important skill, holistic marketing skills. So you need to be a good negotiator, good diplomat as such when it comes to this particular role. Financial management, of course, any product launch right from start to finish is always driven by a budget, right from how many people you want in the team, how many tools, licenses, etc. costs, what are the kind of the duration of the individual other vendors you want to bring in, how many vendors are at play, what are the other stakeholders in picture, what is the kind of training that you need to have beforehand or during the course of the product development, how many cycles you intend to put your testing into. I mean, how large you want to spread your testing effort, even the development effort, what all kind of tests, the code reviews, etc., etc. details. I mean, everything is revolving around a budget, right? So you should always be having an eye on your budget. Okay, first of all, even when we are talking about budget, please remember the product manager should not be mistaken for a product owner. Just one line of difference is enough to differentiate between these two. A product owner will deal with day to day activities which are restricted to his own team, while product manager is having a bigger picture. He is like having this bird's eye view as to what exactly needs to be done to achieve a certain particular goal that he has planned. So this is the main key differentiator between a prod man and a PO. Okay, PO as in product owner. Now, database product reporting skills, right? So all through the course of developing a product and finally pushing it to market, the prod man has to be have on his toes, have data, figures, and facts at his fingertips, right? So whether you are using a simple Excel or a smart sheet or a Tableau or whatever, I mean, beautiful graphics, whatnot, and so on, still ensure that your data is accurate, convincing, and it drives home the point as to where we stand at that particular stage about which you're talking about, right? Creativity, of course. You're talking about if we take only design team into picture, design is always user experience, right? Basically, I mean, just take an example of Apple. Apple's big draw is the look and feel of the product always, right? Just show simple that Apple, half bitten Apple, that logo has become so synonymous because I mean itself is a big drive. I mean, it's a very classy, elegant look. Any product of Apple. I mean, why is there a draw towards Apple products, even though they are so expensive? You will see huge lines of people standing overnight whenever a product is launched into the market, right? That's because the look and feel of the product. How creative are you on the product design aspect? Similarly, even during the course of the development, also, how creatively you can use your, say, your code, reusability of the code, etc. All these aspects they come into discussion in large brainstorming sessions. So you need to be standing on your guard as a prod man, driving home the point as to how creatively you can come up with solutions which can speed up your maybe say the development of the product, pushing it towards the next stage, bringing it closer to the launch. How creative are your solutions? All these aspects. Interpersonal communication skills, I already spoke about Prodman needs to be diplomatic, needs to have excellent negotiation skills. So interpersonal communication skills incorporates all of these. Like you need to have written as well as oral communication skills, like super good. I mean, they have to be so convincing that people should be willing to listen to you, right? So that's a very vital aspect. I mean, one thing is for sure in our industry or any other place for that matter, communication skills play a vital role. So it's more on the outer periphery, but very visible is how I have tried to focus them, and I've kept it in this graphical visual, right? Operations management. So prodman needs to know everything and anything and everything going on in the course of the product development life cycle, right? So he'll be conducting, if required, resees with the kind of products in the market, for the kind of products which are available in the market, speak to customers, analyze the marketing trends, speak to design guys, maybe conduct some design sprints also to come up with a good viable and good looking product as well. So a lot of things here. So when you're doing this operations management, the one thing which you're doing is, any product for that matter will have its own set of features, right? So you as a product manager needs to bring in the visualization of which are the features which are vital, which need to go first. I mean, when you're designing your cycles of product development and testing effort involved in it, rank your features, prioritize your features, size them up, like large, extra large, medium, small, however you want to categorize, and prioritize them as, okay, this needs to go into this cycle, then followed by this set, then followed by the last. Okay, always keep the very vital major features which you consider as showstopper kind of features, or eye catching as well, at the same time, in the very beginning. Don't keep large features towards the end of your cycle, of your product development cycle, right? So that's very vital. I mean, that's a major decision you need to take in as a product manager. So these are the in-depth managerial skills and aspects which I wanted to put forth. Let's go to the next slide, Vishwas. Okay, so now that we have understood the role of product manager, uh, what is the next aspect, as in we need to talk about, is security. So security, when I said here, you are seeing the diagrammatic representation which I've given here: multi-connected business world, individual vulnerability, hybrid work model, right? These are the three vital aspects. But where does security come into the scheme of things? First of all, security starts from the word go, right? So word go, as in the day you decide that you want to start working on your product, incorporate security in that. We will talk more on that in the upcoming slides. Let's focus on these three aspects now. So multi-connected business worlds, as in business world, as in, so for example, let's take an automobile product. Okay, so an automobile product, say, we'll take the example of Mercedes. Okay, Mercedes comes up with its brand new model. Okay, but you need to know here that it's not just the Mercedes name which is in picture here. Final product is named as Mercedes, but you know that Mercedes will have its own set of supplier, vendors, etc., right? So somebody would be helping them with coming up with the brake system. Somebody will be talking about the engine, the tires, and whatnot, and so on and so forth. So these are the people who are multi-connected together in this business of automobile manufacturing. So any of these suppliers is affected by something, the whole cycle, the interconnected system gets affected. Correct? So if you have come across in the newspapers, you will be seeing once in a while some automobile major has recalled cars or two wheelers or whatever, the product manufactured during a date range of so and so, right? That is because there has been some defect in the braking system, or maybe an engine a design malfunction, something like that, right? So they call back their products. So in short, it is a multi-connected business world, right? Individual vulnerability. So I am an individual, so are each one of you, right? I'm sitting in my home or maybe in my office, wherever I'm working. I'll be using a connected system which is connected to internet through a device, and the network specifics, etc. And I'll be accessing my office, or maybe heading towards my bank application or something. And I'm always vulnerable to some hacker who is looking at breaking the system and trying to steal perhaps even my identity. uh, Anything can happen, right? So, individual vulnerability, in short, is basically to state that whether you are rich, poor, It doesn't matter. Anyone and everyone is vulnerable for a security attack. A issue can infect anyone, right? That is what we talk about as call as individual vulnerability. Then coming to hybrid work model, I think it almost intersected into the aspect of what I was talking just now, individual vulnerability. Hybrid work model as in, see, every house almost of any working person or maybe a school going kid also is now functioning like a micro branch. That's the term we can use right now, right? We have heard about main branch, sub branch for companies and offices and banks and so on and so forth, right? But even house has now become a micro branch. I mean that it's that uh, you can say easily identifiable thing that okay, you can work even in your own house. I mean, thanks to COVID we all experienced it. So hybrid work model is now in place and here to stay forever, right? Initially, couple of years back, there was so much of resistance towards working from home, right? I mean, there are many companies who were not even ready to explore it. They were not ready to grant it. But now in the last 2+ years, we have seen that every single company, either you opt for the work from home model and slowly inch towards hybrid model to stay afloat, or you're just gone for good, shut shop, close your business, and bid adios to the IT world or any business world for that matter, right? So this is the kind of situation that we are dealing with. So I have ensured that these three are interconnected circles and they continuously, connect with each other in a cyclical manner. This is a never-ending cyclical process. All these three are major parts and vital parts of a security landscape. So your security needs to be in place basically because of these three main elements. Okay, so let's move to the next slide, Vishwas. Yeah, so there you go. That's the reason why I put it in the cyclic format. So fitting in security in the scheme of things. So security doesn't come for cheap. It's not a free element. It needs to have a well-defined budget. That's what we are talking about. Put some aspect of your, budget aside for security, right from the word go. That's the second point. So it doesn't come somewhere in the middle when at your when you have actually reached a certain stage in the product development life cycle. It doesn't come somewhere in the middle out of the blue and land in your kitty. No, it is right from day one, right? Stay vigilant. In short, be more hawk-eyed than the attacker who might be stronger than you. I mean, don't let the attacker have the sense of feeling that okay, he is stronger than you. You are not vigilant. He can, barge into your house anytime and loot whatever he wants. No. So these are the scheme of thing. These are the schematic aspects which you need to handle when you are looking into security. For your product development. So when I say well-defined budget and all, more in detail, we can talk about based on how the a certain set of companies cater to it, and some do not look into that aspect. I mean, they tend to overlook that aspect. So we can talk more about it in detail in the next slide, which was over to you, please. Yeah, security resilience. So basically, I've put in this, strong muscle man emoji, basically to show that, you know, you're not just giving your product to your customer. You're talking about, you have developed and provided a software to your customer, and you are there to constantly support them in weathering all kinds of, threats that they might experience in a hyper connected world. We talked about multi connected business environment, right? That's what we mean by hyper connected world. So every product that you are delivering, it needs to come with a robust set of security features and solutions. That way you will be having your customers in good terms, and you will help them to continue to stay strong come what may. You will be always holding their hands and helping them out. So always aim at delivering a product which is really strong, robust, and you you need to have the trust of your customer. When you have delivered a product to them, they need to be coming back to you continuously. So that's basically what we mean by security resilience. Next slide, Vishwas. Vishwas, next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. So we are talking about eliminating security poverty line and all, right? So you are seeing that there are three aspects which I've talked about here: security poverty line, cyber 1%, and raising above CPL. So what exactly do we mean? So earlier in my talk, I said something about in macroeconomic terms, we talk about BPL, below poverty line, right? So likewise, even in security, there is a term coined as security poverty line. In present day terms, it is more called as cyber poverty line, CPL. And interestingly, it was coined by one of our Cisco people, Wendy Nather. That's her name. Wendy Nather, that's her name, and she did it way back in 2011. I mean, that's how old this particular term is, CPL. And this is to identify, categorize basically the organizations as to which side of CPL they stand. Either they are above CPL or below CPL. When we say above CPL, these are organizations which are competent enough to have enough security measures in place, have a proper budget to handle security, and so on and so forth. And the other side of CPL are the organizations which are not having a well defined budget. They are not competent enough to handle security issues cropping up, coming their way, and so on, right? So, we are talking about this being a predominant indicator as to how healthy is your product, how healthy is your organization when it comes to handling aspects of security. Because this is something more vital in the present day scenario. You will be hearing terms like organizations, wherein every organization almost wants to jump to the cloud world. Okay, we want to push to cloud, we want to get onto cloud, I mean private cloud, public cloud, hybrid cloud, whatnot. And then you have people who want to be digitally transformed. Digital transformation and cloud are two big keywords, buzzwords, which you're hearing day in and day out every single day these days, right? So that's where you need CPL in picture always, because see, if you are not having a healthy CPL, if you are not on the healthier side of CPL, you will tend to score low on the aspects that we talked about. I mean, you will not be able to ensure that your product is actually meeting all the security measures in required, and they are in place, and you're not competent enough to handle the chaos which you might face on due to sudden changes in the business world, or maybe the as whole world as such, when we had experienced it thanks to chaos of COVID, right? So CPL is a vital indicator. Then coming to cyber 1%, this was coined by Chris Krebs, and this actually defines organizations which are rich per se in the IT world. That is, cyber 1% is like your typical rich customer, rich neighbor who is an attraction to everyone, right? So, you who doesn't like to be associated with a rich neighbor? Who doesn't like to be associated with, okay, especially hackers will have their eyes on companies which are cyber 1%. Basically, the differentiator key points would be your cyber 1% company would be having huge revenue with good profits, and that itself is an attraction for hackers. I'm not saying that smaller organizations with lower revenue and less profit margins are not attraction to a hacker, but then, hey, easy money, right? I mean, those are easy money, but at the same time, big bounty is or always your cyber 1%. So it's a big attraction. Investment, they tend to spend a lot on security, training, uh, whether it comes to the kind of software which needs to be in place, and what are the kind of security features and layers of security that you want to incorporate, everything. So they have a very healthy investment budget in place to deal with this. Then they have the skills. they are ready to invest in skills, whether it comes to recruitment, as in they will be looking at the best possible of the batch to get into when it comes to recruiting people. Trainings, whether you are getting a resource and training that person, or prior to getting the resource you are investing in trainings, like you have these security certifications, networking certifications, etc. They are investing heavily on academic pursuits, and your own employee training as well. That is also something which Cyber 1% takes it very seriously. Then you have CISO, which is basically your chief information security officer. Since you will be having something called as security operations center in Cyber 1%, I mean, they are very focused on having a proper security wing in place, which will be dealing with all aspects: security, intelligence, detection, threat, and resolution, all the aspects around it. You will have a CSO in place as well to monitor all of these things. As in, the CSO's major call of duty would be to look into the budget required for investing in security, uh, when exactly you need to act on what aspect, what are the current security issues that you're dealing with, so on and so forth in a particular organization. So Cyber 1% takes this role very seriously. But the the below CPL people, the organizations will not be looking into this aspect. I mean, generally they tend to overlook on these aspects, because when it comes to skills itself, they are ready to go in for even the average Joe out there, and ensure that, okay, let's get our work done. That's the mindset which the low CPL people, organizations will be having. And even when it comes to the kind of operations aspect, the CPL would be looking into always investing in the state of art software and hardware, while you have the below CPL people. The Cyber 1% will be looking into this aspect, but the below CPL people will be looking into just the oldest of hardware or software also is fine with them, as far as they are getting their work done. So those are major threats, in fact, for hackers. I mean, you do not have a proper sunset policy in place for these old software and hardware, right? They tend to be more attractive low hanging fruits for your cyber criminals, right? So the word of advice here would be, organizations should constantly keep themselves updated, ensure that they are junking the oldest of hardware and software which they might be having in their premises, stop using them, and stay always top notch with the latest
Getting rid
trends
of all
and
the tech debts as well.
analytics in place. I'm sorry, Vishwas, you are saying something?
Getting rid of all the tech debts which they have in
Yes,
the back end,
yes,
which is
yeah.
still
So
lying in the same old Trello or the Jira ticket.
correct. Yes. So, yeah, you brought home an interesting point. I mean, security debt is something which I want to talk about here. Security debt is something which is not something like, okay, it's just happened just now, just last year we started hearing this term. No, over a certain age of almost 30 years, security debt has been accumulating. As in, you need to focus on bringing all the organizations in on the same line. If you are having certain organizations, the big fish, focusing more on security while ignoring the smaller ones, as in the below CPL people, the overall business world actually gets affected, right? Because see, we are talking about interconnected business world, isn't it? If you take an example of, I mean, I'm taking a very odd, vague example. Even terrorist organizations these days tend to share data with each other. That's the saddest part. Not in this context, but then I'm just giving a very vague analogy here. It's just that when it comes to security, uh, in IT world, be upfront in speaking about the security issues that you're facing. If you are trying to say that, okay, my security issue is my own problem, I should not let the whole world know about it, then you are not doing justice to yourself and nor to the entire world. Okay, it's gross injustice if you don't start speaking about your security issues. And you have this aspect of CSR, right? Corporate social responsibility. Likewise, take up this kind of a responsibility when it comes to security as well. Try to help the smaller organizations in your world to to come up to a certain speed when it comes to incorporating security? Because see, ultimately, like I gave the earlier analogy of automobile manufacturer Mercedes, he is dependent on several vendors and suppliers, right? So the smallest of vendor, if he is infected, affected by anything, even the larger guy tends to get affected. It's like this, the one small apple can infect the whole basket if it is rotten, right? So you need to remove that. Okay, so ensure that you're constantly checking your products, talking about your security issues, your vendor supplier security issues, see what all you can do to close the gaps, bridge the gaps, bring healthy solutions in place, and so on and so forth, right? So when we are talking about all this, that's where culture comes into picture. We are talking about incorporating a healthy culture in place in your organizations, right? You need to have this organization culture wherein employees should have the feeling of being responsible. You are not just representing yourself, you are representing your own company, right? So you are the face of your company as an employee, right? So it's really important for you to be responsible in all possible way. Invest in the trainings. I mean, your company is giving you an opportunity to be trained in all aspects security. uh, Considering the present day pressures, there will be workload and whatnot. So if your company is, say, stating that, okay, hey, I want all of you guys to be trained in certain security related aspects, try to pull aside some time specifically for this. Go in a cyclical manner, rotational manner. So maybe if you're talking about 10 teams being engaged in a particular product development right from start to finish, how about engaging one set of teams? They will undergo the security trainings first, and then followed by another set, and then the next, so on and so forth. So that way, you will not push everyone into the pool in one shot. Neither will the pool get crowded, nor will there be an aspect of brain drain coming into picture. I mean, uh, brain drain not in the aspect of, okay, let me quit and all that. No, I'm speaking about wherein the employee will not feel so much of pressure on their minds to okay, what the hell, why should I study this and then again work on it as well? No, they will get a better understanding of why I need to learn these security aspects, why are they important for me, and how will it affect me as a person, and how it will affect the product. So that holistic thinking will come into picture. uh, Brain drain, I use that term, no doubt. See, sometimes there is this very odd understanding that, okay, reading, I don't want to study any further, so let me get myself a different job, maybe in a different location. I'll be away from all of these chaos and I'll be more happy. So that kind of a mindset sets into the person, so those things can be avoided, right? So so you need to plan accordingly. So use user friendly tools, adopt them, and drive home the point on what exactly you are trying to achieve by teaching your employees on aspects related to security. So basically you're empowering them, right? Then tailor make your demands of security. I mean, what your product actually needs, those kind of vital aspects only you focus on, understanding security, so that you will be in a position to bring home the aspect of breaking security in chunks, and then going towards the bigger picture in terms of in a goal driven approach. Then embrace zero trust. That's most important. Zero trust, as in, see, you have to be there for your customer always, come what may, and have that mindset. Even though this may sound to be a bit
One
pessimistic,
second,
but
is it the right
have the
slide?
mindset that anything can go wrong anywhere, anytime. Sorry, Vishwas.
Is it the right slide that you wanted?
That's okay. You can toggle between the two. That's no problem.
Ah, not a problem. Because I was listening more of the customer aspects than the. I was
No, you
like,
can toggle because these are intertwined aspects, so
yeah,
we
yeah,
can
sure,
do
sure, not
both,
a problem.
right? So zero trust, as in you will be always there for your customer, come what may, and you have this thought that there is always a hacker who is alive, active, hawk-eyed, and always kicking to, to get into action, break your product to splinters and whatnot. So just have that thought in mind, to be on your toes always. That is what you mean by zero trust policy, right? And bringing people, technology, and processes together. Again, you are driving the security aspect as an organization, and this is a process, right? You need to bring the people to help them understand the process, right? That is, you want your people to embrace the aspect of security. And then technology, I mean, maybe make it a fun learning element, as to, you don't have to go through boring textual deck and slides. Give them nice fun analogies, maybe some animation involved, and those kind of, make learning fun. Okay, just like how you would approach to a kindergartner, that's how once in a while relaxed format of learning also will encourage employees to invest themselves into the aspect of learning, whether it is security or anything for that matter. Always fun, relaxed approach towards learning helps a lot, right? So uh, these are pretty much what I wanted to capture. And most importantly, have good cyber hygiene in place, as in check your device health constantly. Ensure that you are having multi-factor authentication. I'll speak more on that. Multi-factor authentication, as in your password is like, these days they call it as a house key. You give your house key to somebody, they'll enter through your front door. I mean, you do not want to give your house key to strangers, right? I mean, especially spooky looking ones, not the Halloween ones, of course, spooky in the other way. So always be on your guard. So password is not the one stop all for ensuring that your application, your everything is secure. So that's where multi-factor authentication comes into picture. Have a collaborated approach towards security, as in, see, for example, my organization might collaborate with Google for something, right? um, it can happen with any organizations. For example, let's take Google Duo. Google Duo is a multi-factor authentication app which many companies use, like similar to Ping ID. These are all helping in multi-factor authentication. That way you will ensure that you're allowing access to your premises only to authorized people. Authenticate them and authorize them. That's the whole factor which is coming into play here when we talk about MFA. And then never reuse your passwords, constantly change them. I mean, you might have fallen in love with your password, maybe for sentimental reasons you have to have put your daughter's name, your son's name, and whatnot, but ensure that you're not reusing them constantly. Even if you're using it after 6 months, don't just use them. I mean, resist that idea of using the password just for the heck of it. Okay, the same password, don't repeat your passwords. So why is it vital? So why is security so vital? So if I talk about my own organization, Cisco, everybody might be already knowing it. 80% of internet traffic passes through Cisco devices, right? So we are playing a huge role here, right? And if I have to give the number estimate of devices which connect using Cisco, it's like 21 billion in the present day. And by 2025, we are estimating 9 billion additional devices getting added here. So we are talking about 30 billion devices altogether before 2025. So now it's hitting hard, right? It's huge numbers at stake. You just cannot afford to blink and miss. That's the reason why we need to have security in place. If I have to give examples of, how using robust security systems have really helped, let me talk about example of SecureX, which is one of our Cisco products. uh, I'll not be giving names of the clients because that is proprietary information. So let me just talk about, there is this Spanish fast food chain, which is a big snacking chain. It wanted to have this kind of security aspect in place. What it was doing is, every single time it would send its scientists all the way from Spain to US to study about how better they can make their world when it comes to security measures. They were not looking into the aspect of, okay, hey, there is a product called a SecureX, or how they can secure their own gateway, the internet gateway which they are using in all these aspects. So that's when Cisco came into picture, and they started using our product, SecureX, and now they are very happy with the kind of expense reduction which they are having in place. And it has given them the comfort of multi-layered security and so on and so forth. So a scientist sitting in Spain can actually visualize the production lines going on in US and understand what exactly might have gone wrong, and hey, what needs to be fixed, right? And that all of this in a very secure environment, right? So this is one. Then there was this another French insurance firm which also started using Cisco when they decided that they want to migrate all their data, customer data, onto cloud. So they wanted a very robust system and ensure that there are no security threats, etc. If at all there is a security malfunction somewhere, maybe as simple thing as a malicious email. I mean, I'm saying simple. Of course, it is a huge context depending on how the situation is. Something like a malicious email being detected used to take couple of hours. That got reduced to 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes using Cisco Cloud solution, secure cloud solution. So these are some realistic, actual examples of customers getting benefited by using the right kind of security measures, and specifically choosing the right player when it comes to aspects of security. So this is very important. So organizations must focus more on all these aspects to ensure that they are not badly affected by any kind of storm coming their way in the present day world. So so let me conclude here by stating this particular line here: gaining the trust of your customer and maintaining it is a never ending process. It's a cyclical effort, right? And organizations should strive to be in this direction constantly. I mean, the struggle is real and never ending, and it's forever. I mean, it's a constant process of evolving, going hand in hand with your customer and adding your customer base. I mean, as in, you're increasing your customer base by being the most trustworthy organization possible, and that would definitely help in multiple folds. And it's always a domino effect. You gain trust, the customer gives you comes back to you and brings back many more to join the crowd, and so on and so forth. So it's a very rewarding experience is what I want to say. So I think with this I would like to conclude. Vishwas, the next slide of course is talking about questions,
So
and be happy
yes,
to.
so many questions came personally because
Right.
they feared asking it. So now I'm modifying the questions and I'm asking you. So like that's the thing. So one person asked like it was truly critical based on the customer itself. So I am retracting that part, but I'm asking you like what's the worst part of working in the service based sector? Like are there any experiences that you had after you joined as a freshman as a prodman engineer or something like that? Like that's what's the question.
Sure. Yeah. I will not give the notion or create that whole notion of service-based industry being a jungle out there kind of a thing. Hey, why not? It is corporate world after all. You will be dealing with one day the best, good, better, best will always come and go, right? And it's all about how optimistic you are, how strong you are, resilient. How resilient you are is what matters here. You will have a little bit of pressure comparatively because service based industries are focused on delivering to customer. They have this key concept of customer is king. Step one, customer is always right, and step two, customer is always right, so go back to step one. Yeah. So this is the whole not thought process in customer based service based industries in general. um, the scope for innovation is a little bit less because sorry.
Don't worry about it. It's just
Yeah,
online
sorry
thing.
for that.
It just happens. So yeah.
So scope for innovation is less mainly because the service aspect comes more predominantly into picture compared to developing your own product. So that's what I've noticed. And That's a little bit of a challenge when it comes to trying to get into something wherein actual product development is involved. Critical driven projects are very few in number when it comes to service based companies, so that's always there. But there is this plus point about travel, which is very attractive compared to any product based company, right? Service based companies actually go in for lots of overseas travels, in customer facing roles, and all those aspects come into picture here when it comes to service based companies. Product based, it's a little less comparatively. Long term on site roles are a little lesser is what I have noticed. Travel, because a lot of streams like what we are seeing right now, StreamYard, right? These kind of uh, tools are in play for you, which you can always use at your disposal. So travel aspect is something which is little reluctant when it comes to product based companies. Each have their own pros and cons. Vishwas.
Yep, there is a lot. There is a lot. I think one person allegedly asked, "Can you do some demos on Cisco products on cybersecurity?" I think she's the wrong person to ask about cybersecurity, man.
Not only that, it's driven by a lot of proprietary guidelines,
Yeah,
you can say literally permissions need to be in place before we actually talk about any demo related to Cisco product. And since we are more of an enterprise catering company, largely, so you need to approach the right kind of people. Basically, it will be your sales and marketing folks who can help you out here, and then
yeah,
yeah, they
yeah.
will, in turn, connect you with the right kind of people.
Sure. I think thank you so much, folks, for being there on the Sunday evening. I know it's a very hard time for Geetanjali ma'am to also make time today, but
Always
also
a
she
pleasure,
made time.
Vikas. No, let me talk about it otherwise. I mean, it's always a pleasure whenever you call me out. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thanks for that, folks. So we are ending the broadcast. This is Vishwas Nayan signing off from the stream. If you have any doubts and queries, don't miss out to reach out to me on LinkedIn. And also do connect with us on connect at buildpiper.io if you have any queries and questions so that we can enable your open source DevOps and any journey that you really are stuck with, we can enable that. So don't worry about that. So reach out to Geetanjali ma'am if you have any queries related to the broadband role or anything. Like if you want to start your career as a broadband role, I think in my channel there was an pre-event call that we just did. Just because we wanted to have some sort of an interaction about what is happening in this entire market today. So I think she has covered a lot of insights. We check that out as well. So thank you so much, folks. Bye.
Thanks, Vishwas, and thanks everyone who has joined in. It was a pleasure being part of this whole thing. Thank you,
Sure,
Vishwas, for the opportunity. See you all.
sure, ma'am.
Bye.
We're ending